Kale Vanakkam, Namaskaram. First of all, I'm very sorry that I'm not able to make it in person. I've been back to back every day. Yesterday, meetings in Kerala. Today, all day meetings. So I've been extremely tied up. In next several days, I am traveling here. So I very apologize. Next year, I'll be there in person. And so bonus, our Chief Evangelist Raju Vegesna is there. And he was the one who came up with the Zoho name. So, and persuaded us, and he will actually, maybe share the story at the end. But so I want to talk about innovation, and without further ado, and the thing that first I will say it, we should not make a big deal of it. We should not think I want to innovate. That itself often does not lead to innovation. This idea that I must innovate. And instead we must make think of it, small observations here and there. Really cultivate a curious mind. That is what throughout even both in my personal life, in business world, and now, and I'm building some new technology right now. I'm working on some technologies. I cultivate a curious mind. I'm observant. I notice. And this whole phrase, you said, connect the dots, connect the dots, connect the dots. But where are the dots? And remember, the dots are small things. It's a connection. Once you connect the dots, you get a full picture. But each dot is a small thing. And if you miss a crucial dot, you won't have the picture. So that whole connect the dots itself gives you, first, where are your dots to connect? To me, that is where the innovation begins. Where are the dots? Where are your dots? Maybe you can ask, And what are those dots? And that comes from a curious mind, endless curiosity. Observations that would slip by. And I'll give some examples. All of us, all of us have observed that, maybe formal degrees don't make much difference in the workplace. We find people who are extremely well qualified in terms of their credentials, then people who didn't do well in school or college. And you'll find that people do well often independent of their degree, as I say. Not that people who did well in college don't do well, or vice versa. Just that independent of how they did, people are doing well often in the workplace. There are late bloomers, so-called. This is an observation, right? And most of us would have observed this phenomenon. If you have any experience at all, you observe it visibly. But what do we do about it, right? Actually, that is how the Zoho schools of learning is born. And it was that was a small dot. We just, 6 kids and 21 years now, almost 22 years now, and with 6 students. Now it's become a major institution inside the company, powering us. In fact, I am working on some critical technology team where about 80% of the talent actually came from Zoho schools. That means 80% of them do not have a degree. And they are doing hardcore problems in computer science. They are solving. So, which is amazing to watch. And these are rural kids, actually, mostly rural here in Tenkasi with me. And even I am amazed at how much talent is there. But that would not have happened without that observation that formal credentials don't have a lot of meaning. But how do you actuate it in practice? That is the whole innovation. So that's where I'm going to tell you the 3 things we actually teach in our school here. Not just those schools, but even our school we run here. And the school kids it's called Kalaivani Kalvi Mayam. And we don't even call it a school, we call it a learning center. Kalaivani Kalvi Mayam. And why we call it learning center is we want to actually have a holistic learning, not just, pass the exams kind of learning. Okay? So that's how we think of it as a learning center rather than just a school. And the motto itself says, in Tamil, I'll first say it, Tannambikkai, Tannarvam, Tannolkam. So Tannambikkai, that is self-confidence. That inner confidence must be there. Tannarvam, that is that curiosity, that self-drive, right? Tannolkam, the self-discipline. So that is what our motto is, and then rooted in this notion of what is right and wrong. Aram, Tamil. Aram is dharma, right? So you say you have to be rooted in all of this, rooted in there is a sense of right and wrong. This is right, this is wrong. That notion has to be there in your being. That's the real, that if you look at the school logo, all that is there. But I'll come to this, that you have to have a degree of belief in yourself. And obviously, and that cannot become an egoistic overconfidence. But still, you have to have that inner self-confidence. Okay? Because if you don't have any self-esteem at all, you cannot do any of this. That's the first. To be an entrepreneur, you have to have some belief. You have to believe that you can actually do something, get something done. That's that self-confidence. And then that self-drive, curiosity. And to me, that also comes from humility. The humility is that you don't miss these commonplace observations. You don't just dismiss them. You see it and you examine it. Particularly, you make observations that contradict some belief you hold. Actually, that's I would call this the more important ones, because that's how scientific theories arise. Where Satish,
Yes, sir.
I hope I'm audible. Yeah. So that your the observation, that dot I said, that contradicts some belief you hold. In fact, in my personal case, having gone to IIT and Princeton, all that, naturally the belief I would have held is these credentials, all that matter. That's what I would have believed maybe at 21 and 23 or whatever, during my PhD, all that. And then I observed in the workplace that belief is contradicted. I literally had a boss in Qualcomm, and he had a bachelor's degree. I have a PhD. He was my boss. I actually learned some valuable engineering skills from him. And, it was definitely, I realized that this guy has that experience, sheer wisdom. I'm learning from him, right? Luckily, they didn't put me under a PhD for the PhD. They put me under a guy who does not have a PhD, he had only a bachelor's degree, and that I learned from. That's an observation, That observation you record. You say, okay, this is important to learn from. And similarly, I worked with a person who did not have a degree at all. And that was another observation. That you make those observations. Those observations, you connect the dots, that small dots you connect, that's what ends up in Zoho schools of learning. And now it drives the strategy of this organization in a deep way. This rural talent, all of this comes from those tiny dots, and that comes from that curiosity. And then the last part, I mentioned Tannambikkai, self-confidence, the Tannarvam, the observations you make, the curiosity that drives those observations, and the humility that enables you to accept the observations, particularly ones that contradict your worldviews. And then last is the Tannolkam, which is your internal self-discipline that you have to cultivate to pursue these. And there are, things where we have pursued ideas for 10 years, 15 years, very patiently, systematically. And they have borne fruit. And there is actually literally products in our portfolio that did not succeed for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. He still believed, said it could make it work. We just have to come back at it again. And that has also helped us. That is that whole discipline to stay the course. And of course, there are times where you say don't. And when do you not stay the course? Actually, whenever I notice that the failure is directly our own inability to execute, the opportunity is there, but we are not doing well, That's when your discipline has to kick in to say we can do this. There are times where the whole market has shifted entirely, and there is the opportunity that we thought existed is gone, evaporated. Then you, of course, change course. In fact, I'll give you an example where both happened. Back in about 2005, 6, 7, we used to have this product for managing the Wi-Fi routers. Now, I'm sure all over the place you have this Wi-Fi routers. You will see Aruba networks. You will see, I think HP acquired them. There's a lot of them. You'll see various brands there, right? And we actually had a product in that category for managing these things. The software part. We never had the hardware. Now we are still not a hardware company, though actually we have medical equipment, so I should say we have some hardware in a different company, but in Zoho we have not had a hardware so far. And that Wi-Fi management, the market shifted where the entirety of the access point market itself became one of the access point as an adjunct to comprehensive management of wireless systems. So that means those vendors are not hardware vendors, they are software plus hardware vendors. So the market shifted. So that put us in a position where are we going to make the hardware or are we going to simply move somewhere else, right? We decided at that point we don't have the skill to make the hardware nor the motivation at that time to make hardware yet. So we decided to move on, and you won't believe this. This is one of those shocking transformations in our company. The person running it, Sivaramakrishnan, he actually runs our Kumbakonam division right now. And he actually did something remarkable. He told me, Wi-Fi, he was in Wi-Fi, he said, Sridhar, I always had a passion for accounting. I was planning to do CA, and then I joined this company. Why don't you let me go build accounting software? Well, very strange, right? We have never built accounting software. We have no background. And I said, okay, go do it. So he literally moved from Wi-Fi to accounting software. And it took some time, okay? It took 2 or 3 attempts. We never shipped that software for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Eventually found our way to market. I'm going to tell you something. Today, it's one of our fastest growing products in our portfolio. Worldwide, it's bringing in a large number of customers. We are actually doing extremely well in that. And this was, a story that had origins in 2007, 8, and it had reboots, restarts along the way, and finally we got it done. So that's self-discipline to stay the course. And also we changed course from Wi-Fi management. So I don't regret that. Actually, I think that we made the right call, but we stayed the course on this whole accounting software. And that finally brings up my last point. I have only 2 more minutes. Don't have a fixed idea where it all should go. We were going to go in the Wi-Fi direction. And now, we actually went in accounting software direction. And then that brought up the whole suite of, we have the CRM and the accounting software and the HR. You can see the beginning of a full enterprise suite. This is what really, could we have predicted all this in 2010 when we started a lot of these routes? No, absolutely not. So this is where the phrase connect the dots looking backwards comes. When Steve Jobs said, this is how I interpret it, where first you make those dots a small observation. Don't miss on them. Because if you don't have the dots, there's nothing to connect. And the backwards part is, nobody can predict the future. Right now, for example, can I know what Zoho would be in 5 years in the AI world or 10 years? I cannot. But we are taking steps here. I'm working on some innovation, some ideas, connecting the dots, all that, or observing the dots, I should say right now. Maybe in 5 years, everything will become clear. And at that point, maybe they have connected the dots backward. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for letting me speak. And I again apologize for not being there. And I would be very happy to take some questions right now. And I think my colleague Raju will also be very happy to come on stage and take some questions. He's a great guy. Thank you. Stay. You can post it on the chat, Satish. Yeah.
he can take 2 questions. Anyone, any questions from the audience? Our volunteer here, he's going to go with, yeah, there is somebody. Kadirvel Raja has a question.
Hey, we have a question. Thank you, sir. I just wanted to know the secret of Zoho, the name. It's very catchy.
Actually, right there, Raju Vegesna is there. He is the person behind the name. Again, my the best thing I did was I let Raju overrule my stupid preference at that time. Raju can share that story. Raju, you want to tell the actual story of how it happened?
Let's give a warm welcome to the US operations head, Mr. Raju, who had come all the way from Austin. He's going to answer the question too.
No, thank you. Good to be here. You know, oftentimes we think there is a lot to the name, but really, name is just another word. What you do with the name matters, and that is where pretty much all the credit goes to our product teams who shipped good products, which eventually makes the name. It's a fun little story, but I think end of the day, I think it comes down to the products, the quality, all of that can make or break the name. So it's good to be here, and I think Sridhar will take one more question, and I'll be here all along throughout the day to discuss any of the topics. So one more question. Yeah.
One more question. Yeah, there is a volunteer is all the way.
Hello, Sridhar sir. I am your ex-employee. I was working at AdventNet before Zoho.
Okay.
I was working with WebNMS. Okay. I came here. I came to US in 2006.
Okay.
So I came to this all the way to meet you actually, but I got. I hope I will meet next time.
Yes.
My question is, see, you are great inspiration for product development. What I say is, I see a lot of people who is into more like service-based projects. But I always admire you for the product development that you did 25 years ago. So what is your advice for the people who want to do a product development now and start something?
So if you are, see, my advice is going to be two kinds. One is, if you are very young and you have no connections, you have no money. That's the person. That's what we used to be, right? So that's the advice I'm going to give first. If you are that, I'm going to say start with something very basic and something that is a painkiller. And there is, to this day, I can tell you, there are people who are bootstrapping companies from India and from elsewhere. For example, one of our former employees, Ambi Murthy, he has started a company called GoZen and in Coimbatore, very much in Coimbatore. He would be a great guy to have in FiTEN event one of these days. He actually runs a great incubator in Coimbatore called Alamaram. I was there. He has now bootstrapped a multi-million-dollar company from Coimbatore, and he started with some very simple ideas how to use AI tools for helping small business websites content. And it's a pain point. He's solving that well, and he has a multi-million-dollar business already. Goes in, and I'm quite impressed. I tell Ambi, man, you are executing this awesome, right? That is the first. In other words, Ambi didn't need money. He just used his skills and figured out a strategy, right, from Coimbatore. And then there is the other end of the spectrum. You are well established and you have connections and you have people willing to pour money on you. That's not the problem I have ever encountered. That's not my personal remit. That's not what I've been. But then you can take on something particularly where something that's not done well in the industry, that you can solve well. It may take some time and resources to do it. As long as you have long-term backers, you can go after it. And what could that be today? And I can imagine medical equipment that, it's too expensive. We can bring down the cost. That's something that we are doing, right? So those are the kinds of ideas. Or even, for example, like we are looking at a company that's doing intelligent alternative to GPUs. Those are kind of ideas where you require capital to do it. But clearly, all the AI, for example, requires GPUs. Somebody offering a lower cost solution is always welcome, right? So those are the that's a second class of things. So those are the two kinds that I can think of. So you decide which one you want. That's what I would suggest. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, thanks, Sridhar. So if there are any further questions on behalf of Sridhar, I'll be happy to take. I'll be here all day. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Can we all give one more round of applause for Dr. Sridhar Vembu for this inspiring perspective? And now, to explore how truth-seeking and fearless storytelling can be.
You're going to felicitate him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
To felicitate Mr. Raju, who had come all the way from Austin to be able to answer questions from you as a representative from Zoho, our title sponsor. Here is Vijay Manivel, our president, and Bharti, our coordinator, are going to honor Raju.
வணக்கம் ஸ்ரீதர் வேம்பு சார். எங்களுடைய அழைப்பை ஏற்று ஸ்ரீதர் வேம்பு சார் இங்கே வரதா இருந்தது. பட் அன்ஃபார்ச்சுனேட்லி ஒரு 2 days முன்னாடி ஃபோன் பண்ணியிருந்தாங்க. அதே நேரத்தில் அங்கே ஒரு ஈவெண்ட் இருக்கிறத சொல்லியிருந்தாங்க. பட் கரெக்டான குறித்த நேரத்தில் இதுக்காக நம்முடைய பேரவையோட இந்த தொழில் முனைவோர் மாநாட்டில் கலந்து கொண்டதற்கு ஸ்ரீதர் வேம்பு சாருக்கு மிக்க நன்றி. அதே நேரத்தில் அவர் சார்பாக Raju sir, he came from all the way from Austin, Texas. Zoho Corporation oda US head avanga kalandukittathu romba magilchi. Thank you for your enormous support, Sridhar Vembu sir. And I want to give a big applause and a standing ovation to one of our title sponsor, Zoho Corporation. அனைவரும் நின்று கைத்தட்டலை கொடுக்கணும்னு நான் கேட்டுக்கிறேன். மிக்க நன்றி ஸ்ரீதர் வேம்பு சார் அண்ட் ராஜு சார். தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச். தேங்க்யூ.